Genesis 1 verse 6. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." And God said. As in the previous verses, this phrase underscores the power and authority of God's word in creation. Everything God creates comes into being simply by His command. This again highlights the creative power of God's word, which continues to shape the cosmos step by step. God's word brings order to chaos, initiating each act of creation with purpose and intentionality. Let there be a vault. The Hebrew word for vault is rakia, sometimes translated as firmament or expanse. This refers to a space or dome-like structure that separates the waters above from the waters below. In the ancient Near Eastern cosmology, the universe was understood as having waters above, in the heavens, and waters below, in the seas. The rakia was seen as a solid structure that held up the waters of the sky. It provided a boundary that separated different realms of creation. The idea of the vault or expanse is central to the biblical concept of order and separation. By creating this boundary, God is further distinguishing and structuring the chaotic waters. This separation of waters prepares the cosmos for the more complex forms of life that will follow. In a symbolic sense, this vault can be seen as a protective layer, creating the necessary conditions for life to flourish on the earth below. To separate water from water. Here, God separates the chaotic waters, distinguishing between the waters above, often understood as the atmosphere, where clouds form and rain originates, and the waters below, the oceans, seas, and bodies of water on earth. This act of separation reinforces a recurring theme in the creation narrative, God's role in bringing order out of chaos. In Genesis 1 verse 2, the earth was described as formless and empty, with darkness over the surface of the deep. Now, God is actively structuring this chaotic watery mass by creating an ordered world where life can exist. This separation of waters can be seen as symbolic of creating boundaries and balance, with each element of creation being assigned its proper place. The process of separation in creation is crucial to understanding the biblical portrayal of God as a God of order. This act of dividing waters is part of a broader process where God is establishing clear distinctions in the cosmos, a theme that will continue throughout the creation narrative. These separations are essential for life and order to exist. Theologically, separation can also represent the distinction between the sacred and the profane, or between the realms of heaven and earth. Just as God separates the waters to create space for the earth, He also creates boundaries that maintain the order and integrity of the world. These boundaries are essential for life, growth, and flourishing. Water is a recurring symbol in the Bible, often representing both life and chaos. In Genesis, the waters initially symbolize the primordial chaos that God is bringing under control. Water, especially in the ancient Near East, was associated with disorder, danger, and unpredictability, e.g., the floods, the Red Sea. However, water also brings life and nourishment, e.g., rivers, rain, the waters of baptism. By separating the waters, God is not only subduing chaos but also preparing water to serve its life-giving function in the created world. The vault creates an ordered space where the earth can receive water from above, rain, without being overwhelmed by the chaotic, destructive force of water, as seen in the flood narrative later in Genesis. This separation foreshadows God's later use of water as both a means of judgment, e.g., the flood, and purification, e.g., baptism. In Genesis 1 verse 6, God begins a new phase of creation by separating the chaotic waters, creating a vault or expanse to divide the waters above from the waters below. This act of separation is essential to the establishment of order in the cosmos, as it creates distinct realms and sets the stage for further creative acts. Theologically, the separation of waters underscores the recurring theme of God bringing order out of chaos, and it prepares the world for the eventual creation of life. This verse is also rich in symbolic meaning, with water representing both the forces of chaos and life, and God's separation of the waters showing His sovereignty over both.